Hey, welcome to my channel where I talk about dolls, and that's literally it. And in this video, I'm going to be unboxing the two Clueless outfits, limited edition outfits by American Girl, and I'll be putting them on to American Girl dolls, one of which is a custom that I worked really hard on. So I'm going to start with the Dion outfit because that's the custom I made. I'll show you the details of the outfits and then probably explain the work I put into the custom doll and just talk a little bit as I go, as I normally do. And so let me, as I said, start with Dion because I'm most eager. And as you can see right away, the box sizes are very different to make space for that big Audrey Hepburn style hat before I slide it out. And if you're wondering why there's no external box, the person who shipped it to me, because I had to have somebody help me out, because these didn't ship to Canada, they didn't make it to Amazon, and so I just needed help this time. And so the box, luckily for me, the person who helped me shipped it or packed everything really well because the external box was damaged, and these, as you can see, are in perfect shape still. And I've been sort of worried about what's inside, even though I shouldn't be, but I haven't gone in and checked because I want to see the quality of everything for the first time myself. So when you take off the sleeve, it's just, I don't know if you need to see all these details, but here you go, just in case. And then this pulls out like a drawer here, that knocking around of her big hat. A little bit of wind suction or air suction there. There's a Clueless tissue paper inside. And now I can finally talk about the details of the outfit. So here's the hat I mentioned. The hat itself is felt, and then there's some vinyl going around it. And to anyone who's very familiar with the movie, including myself, you'll know that this hat is not as big or as tall as it is in the movie, and it's not as plastic. Because to me, it looks like completely made of plastic. But they couldn't do that for a doll, I guess, luckily, because that would look really cheap. And I'm going to say I do love everything about the outfit, but I really love the shoes. And obviously the characters in the movie are wearing actual heels, but the American Doll feet are too flat that they couldn't have gotten away with it. So more vinyl, because as most of you remember this movie, there's a lot of vinyl on this outfit. So they did a good job of American Girlifying the pieces that they included. And I know that the Cher outfit is more iconic, but I actually really like this one because I love, well, I shouldn't say I love black and white, but it's more neutral, so it pops in a different way from the bright yellow of Cher's outfit that I'll get to in a second. Okay, so they did. I don't know why I was looking for this to see if the skirt had safety pins. I don't know why I couldn't see it in the stock photos. It was probably very obvious to everyone else. But I've been curious to see how it's in there. Okay, so they're not, okay, so they're like safety pins. I don't think you can undo them. I'm just, if you're curious about them. Even though these are more nostalgia bait for adult collectors, I'm assuming they still have to make them for kids because it's 8+ on the packaging. And then the separate pieces for the top, the red sort of, it's not a Henley because the neck's lower, but it's got the 3 buttons like a Henley does, just like Stacey Dash wears in the movie. And a plain white that goes underneath, and it looks like it's the right tip to come right up to the neckline, which I appreciate. And her, this is a cell phone still, right? It looks like a cordless phone because it's so old. Just plastic, and I think it's branded. Yeah, it's branded with American Girl. There's a star in the background if you're able to make it out. And does this pull? Okay, it does. Just like old phones did. So I don't know if you can pick out all those details. It says as if. Is hers the as if outfit? I thought hers was the whatever. Anyway, it's called, yeah, hers is the whatever outfit, but she got the as if phone. Let's see if hers is if Cher's is the opposite. And then these sort of knee-high black socks. Now, unfortunately, Dion didn't get her vinyl bag that she's wearing in the movie with this outfit, because I don't remember her having a cell phone. Maybe she did, but I remember her having this like pager, a beeper, hanging off her vinyl bag in the movie. But as I said, it's not included, so it doesn't matter if it's a beeper, whatever it's called, or a cell phone. That's not gonna sit up there right. So as I said, I worked really hard on this custom Dion doll. I'm so excited, not just to show you when I've dressed her properly, but excited to see her come together myself. And I'm not going to show you I'm not going to turn her around until I've got her dressed and all her hair situated properly, because making a Dion custom, the hair was the most important part. Well, yeah, it is the most important part, but there were a lot of important parts. And I'm pretty sure you can tell right now that you can already tell that I made my Dion from a Tiana from a Tiana doll. And the reason I chose Tiana is there was so much with the doll already that was already perfect. Like the hair color is good. Because in the movie, I know they've been everybody who all the customs I've like the custom that they have on the box. She has more like a blackish hair, like deep brown enough that it's almost black. But in the movie, Dion's hair is more. It's almost like a reddish brown. So I thought the Tiana wig itself was already a good hair color to start with, and I love working with the Tiana wig because it's such a nice texture and it's so manageable. You can do so many things with it. But the one thing that is unfortunate about the Tiana wig is the lengths are all over the place. And when I first braided her hair, did all the little micro braids. Oh, I left a string out. It looked good because if you know the movie really well and you know the iconic look that Dion has as well as I do, her hair is longer in the back. So it's like the braids sort of hang down about here on a human scale. And so to me, the braids that I see on all the ones from the store, they look good. They did an amazing job braiding, of course. But I just find the braids were really long in the front, which uh, it makes sense because they're longer her braids are longer in the back in the movie. So I kind of had to decide as I was customizing and doing her hair. I worked on her for a couple weeks because I just couldn't pick out if I wanted her braids to be exactly like in the movie, if I wanted them to look good in doll scale, because that does make a difference. And then I decided I would shorten the braids because not only are they shorter, like I said, in the front in the movie, but the Tiana wig, as much as I love the texture and the styling of it, it's not wefted. The wig itself, the hair isn't wefted evenly. And so this doll, the Tiana, how she was originally in my collection, was I had her hair in pigtails. And I always wondered why I couldn't get them even. I was like, I'm so bad at making pigtails. One is very obviously thicker than the other. And then when I straightened the hair and started braiding it, I realized, oh, it's the pigtails look like that because the doll itself had unevenly wefted hair. And I'm telling you all this because I want you to know that I put a lot of work into this doll. So what I ended up doing was, as I said, different lengths. So she had her hair really long in the back. Like some of the braids, because Tiana's hair is up in a bun, so she's got like shorter hair on the top and then longer hair up from the back to make it look more even. And so when you let her hair down, it's in pretty strong layers, as in they look very, very different. So I decided to take the really, really long braids that I had already braided. So I'd already braided all of her hair and had it as is. But then I decided to, little side note, this is buttoned up, so I'm going to have to actually unbutton it in case you haven't seen anybody else do this. So I decided to transplant her braids around her head where the hair was wefted unevenly. So where she had less hair, I cut the really long braids, and that's why I decided to give her hair all one length, was so that I could move the hair around. And I just used, it's going to sound a little bit lazy, but because I was going to weft the wig, I wasn't going to remove the wig from her. So I just used fabric glue to get the longer braids that I was able to transplant around the different parts of her hair. And she's not wearing the hat to keep the wefts glued. It's just that I want to make sure her hair doesn't go all over the place as I'm dressing her. And like I said, the hair is it's an important part of the doll, but it was also a very iconic look that Stacey Dash had in the movie. And another thing that I'm noticing a lot of, she leaves it open. And the thing I've noticed a lot of the customs don't have and when I'm talking about customs, I'm mostly meaning around the store because a lot of the staff were braiding just different dolls to get the look. A lot of them didn't seem to have the right eye color for Stacey Dash because she has, especially because she has, because of her medium skin tone, she's pretty light skin. Her green eyes really pop against her skin. Really pop, especially compared to, I think it's Truly Me 129. I've seen some of the stores use the Josefina mold with a 35 skin tone and the dark green eyes, or hazel, whatever you consider them. So I wanted to make her eyes look a little bit more like Stacey Dash. So I stole the eyes from my Leah doll, and I'm kind of like hyping her up to let you know that when you see how what was I saying? When you get to see how the eye color looks on her, you're going to see that it was the perfect combination for Dion. And you know what I was worried about, and I was kind of right to worry, is Claudie. Some of my Claudie dolls seem to have a bigger head than other dolls. So the hat's a little bit big on her, but I'm sure I could just squish it on. Because I've seen other people put this on a Claudie doll. So I thought, oh good, it's going to work. But it's not working that well. It's sitting up a little bit higher in her head. I'll figure it out. But maybe it's not a bad thing because it's supposed to be higher in the movie. But other than that, she looks absolutely perfect. I'm just going to steal a little elastic in here so she can hold the phone. That doesn't come on her, what do they call it? Her little vinyl bag that she has in the movie. And then, of course, the other thing that seems to be missing from a lot of the Dion dolls in stores is her nose ring. And because the hat's not sitting on her properly, it's pushing out her braids. So I'm like, I'm going to fix that later, and maybe I'll go off camera and come back and try to hold her hand properly. But anyway, now I can show you my Dion custom made from Tiana. I keep wanting to say Tion now because it rhymes with Dion. And you can see how she looks with the color of eyes Leah has. And also, I used black elastics in the front of her head because I only had so many. And sorry, I should be letting you just take in the doll. So these don't even look like Leah's eyes on her. The way it looks against the Tiana skin tone is so, I don't know, it just pops in such a different way. And to me, and maybe because I made the doll, I think she looks so much like Stacey Dash, except for the way her braids are sitting right now. And I'd worked so hard to make sure they went flat, but it's the hat. The hat doesn't fit her properly because she's got a big head. So I'll figure that out. I will, because I'm stubborn. I will make sure that sits nicely. But now, just put her off to the side for a bit while I work on, or show you the Cher outfit called As If. So let's see if her phone also says As If. Maybe they just have the same phone. So before I do that, I should show you the box like I did for Dion, in case you want to see all the details. Like I said, a thinner box, and then the plaid on the boxes underneath are the color of their outfits. I'm putting over the new doll I have up there, but you know what I mean. And then underneath, same thing, but Cher instead of Dion. This one, yeah, okay, this one pulls out a little bit better. And so Alicia Silverstone called this a Chanel, and I know that it is supposed to be kind of like that. It doesn't feel like I expected to. I thought it would be a little bit more flannelly, but it almost feels like a pajama top, especially a doll pajama top. Just to let you know what it feels like. It's not a complaint necessarily. And then her yellow cardigan that goes underneath, also buttoned up, so I'll have to unbutton it. And then another matching white shirt. Feels really nice. The skirt. I'm just looking at the details too as I'm showing them. But again, it's not, I don't know why I didn't expect this kind of fabric. And so she's got white shoes that, again, would have been heels, like actual heels, not platform flats in the movie. So there's only so much you can do with these American Girl feet, right? And then her fluffy backpack, which I was really anxious to see in person. So this feels like there's a jacket that comes in Claudie's collection, and I swear this is the exact same material. And that's what it feels, and that's what it looks like, and that's what I expected. But a vinyl flap on the top, Velcro, and you could put stuff inside. Maybe we'll just stick the, those Celica gel packs, whatever they're called. Put that in there. Not that's going to do anything or need to do anything. She's got white. Oh, and another thing. So the reason I wanted to put Dion on the white doll stand is because she's wearing black boots, so it'll contrast nicer. And then I did vice versa for Cher, as you'll see in a second. I don't think I need to show you these. They're just knee-high socks, but just in case, there you go. And then the exact same phone. It says As If. And so that's kind of a little bit cheap. They could have given them different phones. Just, even putting the whatever on hers and As If, but maybe whatever wouldn't have fit. I don't know why I'm showing you again, but it's literally the exact same thing. And I don't think there's anything too exciting about the doll I'm going to put it on. She's probably the most expected doll to use, aside from this Truly Me 100, who isn't actually a good Alicia Silverstone stand-in, because the thing about Stacey Dash and Alicia Silverstone that always not weirded me out, I thought it was cool as a kid, is they have almost the exact same eye color. It's like this weird shade of greenish blue or bluish green, however you see it. So I'm using Isabel, which I think a lot of people would use Isabel because it always felt like Isabel was based on, I know people said the twins, the Olsen twins, but to me, I was like, how? When she's literally Alicia Silverstone or Cher in Clueless. I'm just making sure I get the Velcro in the back. So I am of the perfect demographic for these outfits because I was the exact same age as the characters, not the actors who played them in the movie, because they were playing 15-year-olds in around 1996. But Alicia Silverstone was only a couple years. I think she was like 18 when she filmed it. But Stacey Dash, she was a mother. She had a 5-year-old son when she filmed Clueless. So I think she was probably like 27, 28. I think she's like 10 years older than Alicia Silverstone. So it's funny to think that it's always been like that. We've always had adults playing teenagers in movies. But growing up, I thought Alicia Silverstone was my age because she had been in a couple movies, and those Aerosmith videos before. I don't know if you will know what I'm talking about, Aerosmith videos from the early 90s. So because she was always playing characters who were around my age, I thought the actor was my age as well. And her first movie that I remember, at least, maybe I'm off and I didn't even look into this, was this sort of thriller horror movie called Crush. And I was obsessed with her from that because, like I said, I thought she was my age and she was playing a sort of psychopathic teenager in a movie that was totally my sort of genre. And then another interesting thing about Clueless is they ended up doing a television show that I feel like nobody's really talking about. And from Alicia Silverstone didn't do the TV show. They actually cast a Toronto actor to play her. Or what's her name? Rachel Blanchard. And she was in a Canadian show called Are You Afraid of the Dark? And people had always said, I think Are You Afraid of the Dark is known around the world though, but growing up I just thought only Canadians knew of it. And people always compared Rachel Blanchard to Alicia Silverstone before she was cast in the show. So I wonder if she even had to audition or if they were just like, oh, let's just cast this Are You Afraid of the Dark girl because she looks just like her. And so because she was a Toronto actor, they once referenced Toronto in the show. Toronto, where I live, Toronto, Canada. And I want to get these to look nice, but they're not going on nicely. So you just might have to ignore them, or I'm going to be sitting here for 20 minutes, putting shoes on at all. It's probably not even that new. So yeah, in one episode, they were talking about going on a trip to Toronto, and Cher, played by the Toronto girl at this point, said, "Oh, I love Toronto. I'm like 30% more fashionable there." And I was like, I'm smart. I get the joke because I live there too. So when they released these outfits, when I knew these outfits were coming out, my first thought was, why? Why would you do this? And then I was like, how am I going to get these? Because I knew that they weren't shipping to Canada. And my only hope, because after the Peaches and Cream dolls got put on Amazon Canada, I was hoping they would do the same, but they didn't. Luckily, and this is going to sound a little bit obnoxious, luckily I know someone at American Girl, so they were able to help me, and they were able to help me, get it at a special price, which, if that sounds obnoxious, just keep in mind, I also had to pay for shipping because these don't ship for free if you're not buying from the website. And so I know the retail price is $80 and I just got a little bit of a discount on it. Let's put it that way. But then keep in mind that, I had to pay for shipping. So it kind of balanced out. And looking at Cher all pretty much done up here, she must be the doll everyone's using. Anybody who has Isabel must be using. And there's another thing I have to say about my Isabel doll is I'm currently gearing up to downsize my collection, certain dolls. And my first step to doing that is putting away dolls and seeing how I feel about them not being there. Like, do I feel like I can live without them? Do I find a purpose for them? Like I try to do it for a couple months, try not to do anything to, like, not drastic, but make a rash decision or rush, because my dolls mean a lot to me. And once I commit to getting rid of them, I'm not going to chase them again. And what I was saying about Isabel is I had put her away. So she was on the chopping block for like my first batch of dolls that I was thinking of selling. And then these came out, and so I couldn't help but think, see, this is why it's a good thing I have that sort of tendency to put away dolls, think about them. And especially when I'm new, like when I haven't sold anything from that particular collection yet, it's definitely important for me to let them sit for a while so that I don't regret it. And I don't know if I would have regretted it. I probably just would have put it on Truly Me 100 like American Girl has done. But I would have regretted not being able to I would have not I would have regretted not being able to put it on her because I do think she is just a better model for this outfit. And so the question becomes, she's a named character, just like Tiana was, but she's a custom. So do I call her Isabel or do I call her Cher? I think it doesn't matter. I think if I feel like calling her Isabel. But anyway, out of the two twins, Nikki and Isabel, Nikki was the one I preferred. So that's why when I'm trying to pick out my most important dolls or most favorite dolls, I'm looking for reasons to eliminate and optimize. And now I can finally show her to you. I hope she looks good. However, sitting on the stand properly. So here is Isabel playing Cher. And remember what I said, that Alicia Silverstone and Stacey Dash both have similar eyes in person, like they almost look the same. But most people seem to think that Alicia Silverstone has blue eyes, or they're thinking about Rachel Blanchard's version of Cher. But regardless, she actually is the perfect model with her green eyes. And putting them together, I'm looking at Dion in the monitor, and even though her braids aren't sitting in perfectly, I'm so thrilled with how she turned out. Oop, sorry, her phone's getting in the way. So they do make the perfect little pair. I'm trying to get my big head out of the way so that you can see. So to anyone who watched along, I hope you enjoyed seeing these two come to life, so to speak. And if you see the Barbie behind me, that was the last unboxing I showed of American Girl, because the thing is, I had quit buying any American Girl products, and I was worried that when I, committed with these, I didn't feel bad. It's clothes. I'm going to use a Claudie mold doll, so it's going to feel very much part of what I want to keep going in my collection anyway. But I was really worried about getting the Barbie that I would regret it, that I would feel like, you quit something. It's like going on a diet and then eating that piece of cake that you've sworn you wouldn't do until, got back to the weight you wanted or whatever. So I was worried that when I got the Barbie doll, that I would feel this regret or this like, why did I do it? I'm back on that slippery slope. I don't feel like it at all. Just so you know, a little follow-up from my last unboxing video is I really do love the Barbie doll. And so when I have things that I will sit and think about other dolls, then I know I won't regret, as long as I can justify having it in my collection and then proceed to make room for it. Because that's the other thing, like I said, downsizing, because these dolls do take up a lot of room. So just have to plan accordingly. And now that I've said all that, thank you for hanging out with me. And hopefully I'll see you soon in the next video.